Hi everybody, this is Marilyn. Do we have audio for this? Maybe? Thank you. Hello everybody, this is Marilyn, and it's time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is Monday, the 17th day of October, and here we all are. So, how's everybody doing this morning? There have been some interesting trades this morning. People have been posting some, especially some scalps and some really good entries that they got on NQ. I noticed that. I personally don't trade NQ. I think I have a mental block against it. But anyway, a lot of people in this room really like it. And I know Lori is a convert. She's decided she loves that thing. But all of the indices have been pretty much on the same page this morning. They're trading mostly in lockstep. It looks like TF might have been a little more of a problem, but they all were every 30 minutes. If you watch those 30-minute candles, every 30 minutes, for the last couple hours, they've been changing direction. The reason I pay attention to those 30-minute charts is because the highest probability of a reversal in direction will typically come at the top or the bottom of the hour. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but the biggest one is there's a lot of algo trading, and there's a lot of big money that moves around at that time. So if it is going to change, likely that's the most likely time it will. It's not always the case, but after all, what we're after here is stacking the odds in our favor. Gold is in a bit of it's just kind of been hovering around. It's trying to hold this 1243-ish level, and it doesn't seem to be too inclined to go too much one way or the other. And the dollar, gold and the dollar kind of trade usually inverse of each other, but the dollar isn't moving, and looks like the indices have been a bit difficult this morning. Some mornings those currencies, those currencies are really nice to trade sometimes, but this morning hasn't been too beneficial. The big moves this morning have been in bonds, which I cannot believe how far bonds have come. I mean, they've gone up almost 2 full points, which is 31 ticks to the point. So there's a lot of bond ticks, and I will show you. I keep both the C's and this VAD chart, and I'll show you this bond chart because when bonds are good, they are very, very good, and when they're being naughty, they are really, the bond bus driver can be a real jerk. But I like to trade off of this with the C's confirm, and the trend catcher confirm was put up pretty early, for at least for me. The Cajun Comedy Breakfast Club, probably some of them caught a ride on this, but when it got up here to this is an old big magnet, and it's right here at a deviation level. So you kind of have in your mind that at this level, it's going to fiddle around here. And this was a really nice touchback right here to this EMA. So if you got it there, if you got it at the deviation level, if you got it at this big magnet, if you got it at the halfway mark on the range box. I really like the range boxes. That's about 8:30ish, and sometimes you want to pay real close attention when there's news. This was kind of a medium ranked news this morning. It wasn't the high intensity numbers, but anyway, this made a really nice trade up to settlement. And Daryl talks a lot in some of these tapes about how this thing will, most markets, when they've been down, they will move up to settlement. So that's kind of the bat cave up here, the settlement thing. And then on crude oil, once it departed, I love this trade. I love this trade. This is a great trade. Long ago, back in the dark ages, when we didn't have all this wonderful stuff, one of the great trades would be taking a market 2 ticks below the settlement, especially settlement, and then take it down to the next deviation level. So if you did that, this really would work. I thought it might go down here to the blue ice, so I caught that ride, but then I got back in once it put in this. I don't like sitting through these kind of candles. They drive me nuts, especially over a major level, because this blue ice, it could just as easily have turned around. And over here at the blue ice level, overnight, it fooled around right in there a lot. But then to get back in, when it definitely is going down, and it went on down to a deviation level. That's what these deviation levels are so good for. And if you notice, the VAD just kept going. And on the C's chart, if you like to trade C's, it's pretty much the same thing. This got a little iffy right in here, but notice how these two EMAs crossed right here also, just below settlement. So that's typically, that is a really, really nice trade there. The VIX, our friend the VIX, this thing is, it's come down a little bit. It was up to 1675 earlier. It's trading 1637 right now. And that's a little bit, that right now, what that's telling us is to throw up a little bit of caution. And when you see all these indices that they're kind of in a tight range, they don't seem to want to break out one way or the other. And keep in mind, we're in earnings. So this afternoon, after the market closes, which when you see that after the market closes, what does that mean in English? It means that after the New York Stock Exchange closes, which will be 4 o'clock Eastern, YM will continue to trade electronically for another 15 minutes. But IBM is releasing this afternoon. So depending on how wonderful their numbers come out, YM could very easily move this afternoon. IBM is a highly liquid stock, and so pay attention to that. Tomorrow morning, before the market opens, J&J is releasing, and that's another big one. So this can affect both the YM and the NQ. And if you will go to the Apex website and and check the news, there's a really nice little coaching thing if you're trading Nadex on how to trade that also. So Mike is asking me if I would go over NQ. Mike, I don't even keep an NQ chart up. Lori's the genius, and there's 2 or 3 others. I think Craig trades that, and Anthony trades that, and they've posted some really nice charts, and Dottie caught a great ride on, I saw that, she's doing a great job with that. So scroll back up and get their charts, because they're all marked up, and they you'll see what, not all of us see everything all the same. That's both the beauty and at first a little bit of the confusion of Apex. But once you see what other people are seeing, there will be things that start to click. And you really do need to take the path of least resistance. The one that makes the most sense to you, the one that's the easiest for you to spot. But my strong suggestion is that when you see the entries, go back and sit there and ask yourself, okay, what else is happening? What would lead me to believe this was a really good entry? Notice what the volume is. Notice what the VAD is. Notice the time of day. Where are you relative to settlement? Where are the apex letters for that pattern? Notice and where are the magnets? And start to notice this stuff will all come together at some point. It's our brains are a little bit like we're shoving a bunch of information into the computer, but it hasn't sorted it all yet. And once it clicks and the sorting mechanism kicks in, then it becomes a whole lot easier to, you'll start to develop your own style, because you'll find that things are real easy for you to see, and other things that other people trade, it's like, you know what, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, and yet they do really well with it. So the indicators here are all incredibly accurate. It's a matter of finding the combination that kind of clicks with you. And the let's see, the difference between expected volume. Yeah, Abdul, there are 2 of those volumes on that menu right now, and I think at some point that'll get changed. This is the beauty of asking questions in this room, because other people have the same questions. They just didn't ask. The question is, what's the difference between the expected volume and the expected volume V8? The expected volume is an old one, and what you want to use is the V8, volume V8. It's, yeah, Lori's absolutely right. It's updated and it's more accurate. It also doesn't drag your load time. So if you've still got any of the old volumes, just go into indicators and remove that from your chart and put the V8 in, and you'll find your load time works a lot better too. It's not as fast as it's going to be, but it's going to be. It's coming. It's really coming. The another question is the Triple Crown testing. Where can I find the uploads? Rich, if you're going to, are you talking about doing market replay? The market replay is on your Ninja control. So the expected range high to low, no, just that's a good question, Sonia. Sonia is asking me about removing the expected range. No, the expected range is fine. It's the volume. Let me show you here on my chart. I'll show you which one you do. You go to indicators, and it's down here. It's this expected volume right in here, expected volume, and expected volume V8. What you want is down here on your chart. Let me see if I can find this. Expected. Oh, I don't have the volume on this chart. Sorry, I can't put volume on every chart, and all the other stuff I would love to put on every chart because I don't have enough space on the workspace here. But the one you want, if you have expected volume, if you have this one right here, then find it down here on your chart. I'll show you on this one because this is the one I've got it on. It'll probably be a little clearer. Here's the expected volume V8. If yours just says expected volume, highlight that, click remove, go up here to expected volume V8, click on that and put new and then tell it okay. Is that what you mean? And yes, if you want to see the charts that are the cloud workspace, you have to find your Hotcom mouse. I mean your Hotcom button, and just mouse over it, and you'll find it, and then click on it so it brings it up, so you can put it on your own screen. Okay. So let's see, on the bad chart, when you enter CL trade, where do you put your initial stop? Okay, my initial stop, I use on CL a 15 tick stop and a 35 tick take profit, and that's just automatic. That's the ATM. Now, do I sit there with a 15 tick stop? No. I will move that to whatever I'm trying to protect against. But the reason I do that is if the thing goes berserk, or I lose my internet, or I don't know, I was just flat out wrong and a ton of volume comes in there, whatever it is, 15 ticks is the maximum I'm willing to take, but at least that will save my life. And the same with the 35. Crude oil can suddenly take off. And if you're, I don't always get those 35 ticks. I move that too to, I don't know, the deviation level or the bottom of the range channel or whatever's the appropriate thing. And when you're trailing those stops, keep in mind what that stop is for. When you make your trade, the first one is the absolute max pain that you are going to take. The goal is to get that as the market moves down. Say you're 5 ticks profitable, then move it down to a 5 tick stop loss. And then when it goes to 10, you move it to break even. And then when it goes to 15 or 18 or whatever it is, move it down to 5. So you've got 5 ticks profit protected. And it's, in other words, what you keep doing is you keep making a little sandwich out of that thing, out of the take profit and stop, and you will eventually either get your take profit hit or your stop loss, one or the other. But so, and keep in mind, some ticks are better than none. But that sandwich thing that's kind of what you have to think of. And some days you'll get, once you've got that 5 ticks of profit, then you can afford to let it go down to, say, 20 ticks of profit before you move it down and protect 15. And then, anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. Tomorrow morning, not only do we have J&J earnings before the market opens, but at 4:30 in the morning for all the early bird crowd, there's a number of things that will affect the British pound. But at 8:30, we've got Canadian and U.S. Important numbers, and then not so much after that. But later in the week, this will get a little more so. Also, this is options expiration week. So money starts to move around in these indices, and especially with in the middle of earnings. But the third Friday of every month is options expiration day. And the reason that you need to kind of have that in the back of your mind is because from Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, a lot of big money moves around. So keep that kind of in mind. And yes, Anthony, you're absolutely right. You have to play defense. There's no other way to. So anyway, I think that's about it. And yeah, the VED is very cool. Very, very cool. Okay. Adiola has a great point here. How does everybody find the strategy where they see their highest probabilities? There's so many tools. Pick a strategy. IZSS is one, and alchemy is another one. Pick one and demo trade that until you are pretty comfortable with it. Get the cheat sheet in front of you, double check that cheat sheet. Where are the entries? And I am a big believer in it's the entry. It's the entry, the entry, the entry, the entry. If you don't get the entry, you don't have trade. What you have is fire. You gotta put out your fire. So get the yeah, you get over. Well, you know what? Welcome to the club. And I think we all get that way. The market replay is you go to File in your control,